MasterLeaf not targeting the Scorpions on the right, but he's going to turn around because the forces of Shrapnel are here in the center. If he's not careful, he is going to get... Welcome to Kane's Wrath. I'm your host, Korak, and today's map is The Harvest. Item of note. This video is a mashup of different games and players sent to me by the players themselves. We are on patch R22 Echo. Start us off on the top left-hand corner wearing the purple and yellow robes in the Mark of Kane and screen gloves. We have Rildcom and Shrapnel. Over in the right-hand side of the map, wearing the orange and red robes, sporting the Zocom and Traveler 79 gloves, here is 190 KM and Whitey. All fighters ready? Begin! Harvest is a large eco-rich map that allows for massive engagements of troops and armor. It has 2 Tiberium spikes per player, as well as a large eco field in the center and blue Tiberium in the south. Let's see how our fighters fare in this arena. Looks like everybody has started out standard as of right now. Nothing real crazy. We don't have any of the Nod factions doing anything silly as of right now. Everyone has started their expansions, has moved into their Tiberium spikes. No one's taking the mutant hovels, unfortunately. We should see some scouting and some sharking here in a moment. We did get some sharking from the orange player from 190 KM. He was able to get some buzzers over in the over by the mutant hovel, so the southern part of their base as of right now. It does look like Rildcom is set up in a good spot in the natural expansion for both players. An item of note to remember is that players can build off of each other's build range, so only one of them really needs to send their MCV down there, and another one can slap their harvester down. And right as I say that, it looks like Shrapnel has set up his harvester, set up his refinery. Rildcom getting a very good scout on both bases of his opponents, and I believe the buggy is actually going to make it out. Yeah, that does appear to be the case. The buggy did make it out. One thing he is going to show is that the harvesters for his opponents, the harvesters for red, for Whitey, are going to be a bit exposed if he can get something over there in time. It looks like we have our first movement into the center of the map. 190 KM moving APCs and a little bit of infantry into that center to help him gain some controls, backed up by a whole single gunwalker. But the most important part is he has his MCV over on the center part of the map, which means he's going to be able to start establishing a infrastructure sooner rather than later. We do have our first set of bikes over here by Rildcom. They're probably going to be sneaking around seeing what they can grab. And we have our first engagement as well. Gunwalkers versus APCs versus man spam. The Gunwalkers are a little bit outnumbered, but the micro is here for the Stren player, for Shrapnel. He is able to save one of the Gunwalkers and take out one of the APCs. That is an APC down for one Gunwalker. Nothing massive as of right now. Scorpion tank coming to help push out this small advance, but what they are going to see and what they are going to know is that these units have sort of taken over the center of the map. I do not believe they can see that harvester as of right now. 2 Scorpions go down almost relatively for free. They did get an APC. One of the Scorpions did get an APC early on, but that was really about it. Shrapnel able to get in just a little bit more scouting over on that side of the map, and it looks like we have some shock troopers over here having to fight this lightning tower placed down by the red player, placed down by Whitey. Those lightning towers early on can be super frustrating to deal with. It looks like we also have some popped in buzzer swarms over here to start wreaking some mayhem as well. We do have shredder turrets here to start dealing some of the damage, and it looks like 190 KM is going to try to capitalize on this lightning tower having such a hard time being taken down. But he's going to turn around because the forces of shrapnel are here in the center. If he's not careful, he is going to get in a little bit of a bad spot here. The one click does get called out. That's going to absorb a lot of these shots and give them a small advantage, but I don't think they have the troop count. There's another one click right there. The stasis field does get called out. That is super good for shrapnel. Shrapnel was able to get the majority of the forces of his opponent of 190 KM and will hopefully give Rildcom some time to come over here with the avatars and support killing these APCs, support killing these tanks. That'll be really massive. Gunwalker's taking out a pillbox in the southern section of the map, and we do have the Mechapeds out here by Whitey. Whitey's moving into the base of Rildcom with Mechapeds and Gunwalker. I'm not sure Rildcom has an answer to this quite yet. However, that Obelisk is going to be able to do some crazy work to these Mechapeds. It does not look like Whitey was able to get the Gunwalkers in at the same time as the Mechapeds, but if they can just bypass the Obelisk, it may not matter too much at all. In the north, we have Devourer tanks, versus the forces of 190 KM as Whitey still begins to circle around the southern section of their expansion, the southern section of their base. They're also going to see this technology assembler by Shrapnel slat down. Losing that will not be good. These Mechapeds really want to get that as a kill as of right now. This is non-stop mayhem on both sides of the map. They did get a T3. Whitey got some really good gains. Hopefully, if he can get those Mechapeds out in time, that'll be super worth it. Shrapnel losing that T3 is definitely going to hurt. Minor skirmishing continuing in the northern section of the map, but the real MVP of this fight are these Mechapeds. They are finally getting whittled down. That is a third Mechapede taken out. He was able to save one right there at the end, but the damage is done. That T3 is done. I don't believe they got too many harvesters, but that was still enough to put in some good work for his purchases. The other item of note is that Whitey is grabbing the blue Tiberium while he's starting his assaults. That is very good since he has that sort of advantage, since he has that control over this sector of the map. That's going to be super helpful for him. And it's not looking super great for the faction on the left because Rildcom and Shrapnel have not moved into the center part of the map. They have plenty of Tiberium here. They might just be trying to bide their time, but the more and more time they go, the more and more they're going to lose all of this Tiberium here in the center and the blue Tiberium here. They've got to be down on resources. Looks like T3 is back up for Shrapnel in the north as of right now, and we have an Eradicator Hexapod out for the the Traveler 79 player Whitey. Whitey going for a little bit of some higher tier units, grabbing the Prodigies, grabbing the Devastator warships, and the tripods, as well as this. It does look like we did get the Prodigy sniped. I missed what killed it over there, but that is going to be good for the other team on the left, was losing that Prodigy. Eradicator Hexapod is positioning for a fight on the center of the map. I'm not sure Shrapnel has the forces. There is the scouting ability by the GDI player. They're going to see what Shrapnel has, and it's not much. There is an Obelisk here, and there are charged Devourer tanks, so they're going to be able to do a good amount of damage to these APCs. Sounds like we also have a Redeemer up for Rildcom as well, wherever that guy is. There he is right there. Rildcom seeming to be going for avatars and the... I forgot his name for a second. The Redeemer. Going for the Redeemer. Pot shots are happening on these Devastator warships. That's really good for these Shock Troopers. The Shock Troopers would be very nice to get those kills. And the Devastator, Nope, Devastator warship is going for the Reclamator hub. If they can get that Reclamator hub, that'll be massive. That is a huge gain. That stops them from getting their T3 unit. That stops the GDI player from getting that T3 unit out. Even if he loses a couple of forces here, stopping that Marv from coming out will be massive, because the Marv can no longer Marvest those abilities, and they lose that time and money that was invested. This engagement is starting to intensify over here on the north. One click does get a large number of tanks and in man spam, and the forces of orange, the forces of 190 KM have begun to dwindle. Another Prodigy does get sniped by these Venoms putting absolute work, getting kill after kill, killing these tripods and doing everything they can. Things are starting to not look super great for the right-hand side of the map. They do seem to be winning a lot of engagements, but they have also lost a lot of high-tier units. We do still have the one click out on these Annihilator tripods. One click does come out for the Reaper 17 player. He puts a stasis field down as of right now, slowing down these avatars. But the other thing, though, too, is that's also going to buy some time for these tripods to lose their one click, to lose their invulnerability. Skirmishing still continuing on the northern section of the map. Shrapnel doing a good job of holding them off. He's not quite able to move forward, but he is able to keep their attention while Rildcom continues to build up. Rildcom is finally here in the center of the map. I am surprised that Rildcom and Shrapnel are beginning to turn this around. There were so many resources they were just absolutely missing. Super big item to note is this is a lot of Devastator warships. We do get the one click, or not the one click, we do get the disruption tower protecting this Redeemer as best it can, and the Redeemer also has 2 engineers in it, which means it's going to be able to soak up a lot of damage. Gunwalkers are going to move in and take out these Devastators. Those are the big threat as of right now. That's what they should be focusing on, in my opinion. This Eradicator Hexapod is going to be able to do a lot of damage, but these Devastators need to be dealt with. More and more Devastators getting taken down left and right. The Reaper 17 player, Whitey, is just losing forces left and right. He is moving his Eradicator Hexapods, or his Mechapedes, into the natural expansion of both players of Rildcom and Shrapnel, but I'm not sure how much that's going to be able to do. There are a lot of avatars here, and there goes even more one clicks. There is a EMP field, and there is a stasis field on these tripods. It looks like we do have Spectres, at least one Spectre set up over here by Rildcom, and these Devastator warship forces are starting to dwindle along with the forces of the Mechapedes in the south. Rildcom is absolutely established in this center part of the map, just taking absolute command. The ping does get called out, 190 KM, showing that he is building up some hammerheads. Hopefully that will be able to prepare him for this ongoing fight, but more and more of these Devastators get taken down, more and more tripods get destroyed left and right. This Redeemer is just an absolute beast, soaking up so much damage with those 2 engineers. Venoms here are going to be able to support. They're going to get the Fanatics as quickly as they spawn, and they're finally going to be pushed back just a little bit more. That Redeemer focusing on the husks of those tripods. That'll be super massive, because at some point these players are going to run low on resources, even though the right-hand side has done a phenomenal job of harvesting and getting all of the resources over here in the center. Redeemer finally does decide to back out. It looks like some of those Mechapedes did make it out, and nominal damage was done to that southern expansion, so that is good for right now. Rildcom's done an amazing job of just capitalizing on not losing units, on holding onto his units as hard as he can, where on the other side, Rildcom and 190 KM has sort of just thrown units at the wall and kind of lost them left and right. Shrapnel's impact definitely has not been aggressive in this game, but it has been very defensive, giving Rildcom time to build up and picking on his enemy when he can. Rildcom seeming to be the MVP of this map, almost single-handedly taking out the aggressive forces of his opponent. Like I said, Shrapnel holding that defense, giving Rildcom time to build that up, being a real team player. This is not looking super great for the right-hand side of the map. They started out very strong, but they're looking more and more weak. We do have what looks to be the final engagement building up, I believe. This is a lot of Devastators. This is another Eradicator Hexapod out. This is a tripod out, but these tripods are also getting hammered by these Shredder Turrets. Shredder Turrets do finally get taken out, but they've done their damage. And there are the SAM turrets to start harassing these Devastator warships. I'm not sure how many they're going to be able to get, but doing some damage and forcing them out is going to make a difference. Venoms are here as well. Rildcom's doing a very good job of using those Venoms to snipe units where they can, to snipe these Devastator warships, to snipe Prodigies. He's just been using them left and right. Shrapnel is a little bit back in the fight, providing some Gunwalkers to support these units. That'll be good against the tripods, at least soaking up some of the damage, and that'll be good against these Devastator warships, which are the primary threat of their opponents over on the right. Massive, massive EMP gets called in the center over here. That's extremely unfortunate as Gunwalker gets taken down, but oh no, I don't think they have anything to really capitalize on that. The Eradicator Hexapod is focusing on the SAM turrets, which will make his Devastator warships move forward, but these Devastator warships weren't able to get very much in the kill department. That's not going to be great. That was kind of a waste of an EMP. Rildcom deciding to back off just a little bit, maybe trying to bait in his opponent, maybe trying to reposition his units so they can concave, so they can all fire at once. And there is the EMP on the Eradicator Hexapod. Its rear armor is exposed. It is in a very, very dangerous spot. Another EMP comes out, and I'm assuming probably here a second and a third, but the one click does save the Eradicator Hexapod. However, the Eradicator Hexapod's purpose in this match right here, in this fight, is to soak up damage, not to get kills. Mechapede's not really doing much in the south. He needs to be utilizing those units in some form or fashion. I don't know what he is waiting for with those Mechapedes, but Whitey needs to utilize those units as quickly as he can. It does look like these hammerheads have been flying around and doing some damage, but I think there are plenty of SAM turrets out to defend most of the important parts of the map. We have tower versus tower over here in this expansion, where we have watchtowers versus these shredder turrets. I'm not sure that's going to go real well for the right-hand side. Mechapede's finally moving in on the southern expansion, but they're having to fight these shredder turrets, these upgraded shredder turrets, and I'm not sure what all that's going to be able to do. I think the time of the Mechapedes has gone and has come and gone. There's only so much they're going to be able to do. If they're able to get a couple of harvesters, that'll be super awesome, but a lot of the resources are gone in the south. More and more Gunwalkers come out for Shrapnel. That is definitely the call. Providing that support, providing that air killing power and that man killing power will be the best, will be a very good offset to Rildcom's Avatars and Redeemers. They're doing a very, very good job of working together and using each other's strengths and weaknesses to their advantage. The fact that they turned this around and they've started to take over the center of the map after the right-hand faction, the right-hand team was in so much control over it, is absolutely insane. They've done a phenomenal job of doing that. These Devastator warships just won't stop. Every time one gets taken down, it's replaced by another one. They're going to be able to do a good amount of damage. Gunwalkers keep positioning to try to get them, and they almost do move in, but they turn around to fight on this Eradicator Hexapod, to fight on those hammerheads. Losing that Eradicator Hexapod is going to be massive for them. Those resources are going to count. They're losing more and more units left and right. Unfortunately, some of the Gunwalkers of Shrapnel are caught in sort of a bad position. Maybe their goal was to prepare for the SAM turrets, but I'm not sure it was worth it. They lost the majority of their Gunwalkers and didn't really get any air unit kills. Devastator warships killing and destroying these SAM turrets absolutely, as well as this super upgraded Spectre tank. Spectre tank does finally get taken down. That is going to suck. Rage-In's also going to happen as well for the Redeemer. Redeemer does pop that out. Another Gunwalker does get taken down, but I'm not sure how much it's going to do. And there's a massive mine drop on all of these tripods. I'm not sure it did too much, though, but the tripods are hurting. There it goes. There's the one click on top of the portal, on top of the tripods, and the Redeemer is going to start moving its way in with these Gunwalkers. They need to take out these air units. Those are going to be such a massive pain in the butt. One click does happen on top of the Redeemer. That's not real great, as well as the Avatars, but they should be focusing on the Avatars is what I would go for. The Redeemer is not the damage here. The Redeemer is the tank. You need to be killing the Avatars. You need to be killing the Gunwalkers. They did kill the SAM turrets, which are going to be good. If they can win air superiority, they have a chance of turning this fight around. Rildcom just being an absolute beast here, though, soaking up damage, just not losing units, being extremely frustrating with these Avatars, being extremely frustrating with this Redeemer. This Redeemer still hasn't gone down this entire time, and most of these Avatars have stayed up a very, very long time. It looks like we even have a heroic Avatar as of right now. If they had been able to take that out, that would have been massive. Although I don't think there's a war factory here for them to repair it, but they haven't really done anything with it as of yet. Long Distance Harvester probably got misclicked over there and got taken out rather unceremoniously. That is unfortunate. And it looks like the forces for Whitey are rebuilding. He's got another, I think a third Eradicator Hexapod, a bunch of tripods, and a good number of Devastator warships. The Hammerheads for 190 KM are absolutely killing what is left of Shrapnel's base. Shrapnel just has nothing to fight this. He has no SAM turrets, he has no plasma turrets out to defend himself, and he's probably going to be out of the game here any minute, leaving Rildcom by himself unless he can get some sort of structure somewhere else on the map. I guess he does have structures defended over there in the south, but these Hammerheads have just done an absolute large amount of damage. This right-hand team has done very, very good with their air superiority, very, very good with these air units utilizing it. These Devastator warships are basically air artillery. That's really the best way to put it. Reticular Hexabot killing more and more units, racking up more gold for itself, racking up more resources for itself. That's going to be super helpful. Venom does get taken down from Rildcom. That's going to be unfortunate. These Hammerheads still haven't been dealt with, and these Devastator warships just won't stop. A lot of the tripods do look like they were taken down. That is massive, and they have begun taking down the construction yard of 190 KM. He's not going to have the resources to rebuild that, especially because he's not harvesting resources down in the south off of his other natural expansion. I guess he did get a bunch of the resources here in the center, but that was then, and this is now. This is a different game from then. And oh no, the heroic avatar is finally gonna get taken down. He got all of those kills and then just got in a really bad spot. However, when that one goes down, 4 more seem to have replaced it, unless that is all decoy army. Rildcom is absolutely sunk in on this center point of the map. Him moving out is probably not going to happen. Those do look to be actual decoys, so the avatar was not replaced as of yet, unless you count the replacement of all of these SAM turrets, replacement of all of these turrets in general. We have a Redeemer versus the Eradicator Hexapod and all of the units over here. This Redeemer is not supported by anything. It's going to get EMP'd and melted down again. If they can do it, that's going to be a third Eradicator Hexapod that is going to be taken out for Whitey. That is going to be extremely unfortunate. There is the one click to save the Eradicator Hexapod. It's going to try to move in for some of the crushes, but it's not going to be enough. Here are the tripods to support. Here are the Devastators to support. They have been taking out these large number of turrets, excuse me, but not enough to really get anything as of yet. This Redeemer is up right now. That one click just doing all kinds of damage mitigation for Whitey. That's going to be really great for him, saving that unit. One Hammerhead does get taken down, and these Devastator warships just will keep going over and over. Just constant bombardment. The forces of Rildcom have begun to dwindle just a little bit, although he has shown how useful he can be with even a small amount of units. Rildcom pinging potentially to Shrapnel, maybe to start taking the resources of the base over there in the south. That does appear to be what he is going for. No, the drone ship for Shrapnel has been caught out. That is extremely unfortunate. One Hammerhead is going to get taken down, possibly 2 Hammerheads by these Storm Riders, and that is going to be the end of the air superiority they had. However, they did get a lot of bang for their buck. They were on this map for a very long time, and they did take out the drone ship of Shrapnel. Those are all things that are going to matter later on in the game. Storm Riders just deciding to go for absolute revenge and get taken out. They do take out one more Hammerhead before they all finally get taken out there in the center, and it looks like Rildcom has begun to move his way back into the center, placing these towers, but the towers are going to get destroyed just as soon as they arrive. Redeemer stepping up just to get its Rage Gen off. Words are hard. But that's not going to do too much. SAM turrets are doing some damage to some of these Devastator warships. It doesn't look like they're going to be enough to kill them. There's just too many Devastator warships to deal with these shots. Although we do get one more kill right there, that is good for them. Every Devastator warship down is going to be massive for these players. Those are still the biggest threat. We have more avatars out here beginning to repair to support their big brother, to support the Redeemer and move in. I think for the most part, Shrapnel has been relatively neutered. He did spend 3,500 on another drone ship, so that's going to be money down the drain for him. It doesn't look like we have anything to replace. No, for the most part, 190 KM is pretty much out of the game. He only has this one airfield and then a harvester and a couple of tip spikes. At this point, it might be worth giving his resources to what looks to be the stronger team member, which is Whitey. Hammerhead still finding absolute purchase, taking out what's left of the resources of his opponent of Shrapnel. This air superiority is continuing over and over as these units just take out turret after turret, take out infrastructure after infrastructure, just over and over, forcing Rildcom and forcing Shrapnel to constantly rebuild and spend their money on defenses instead of aggressions. We do get a plasma missile battery here to try to help take out one of the Devastator warships, and they are successful. There's only a handful of Devastator warships left. Shock Troopers moving in and not able to do too much. Gunwalker is caught out. They have no reinforcements as of right now. I'm not sure what Rildcom is waiting for. Maybe he wants them to engage just a little bit more. Maybe he wants to get ready for those tripods. I am unsure as of yet, but another SAM turret is going to get taken down here in a minute by the Eradicator Hexapod. Hammerhead still positioning in the north to try to see what they can see and get what they can get. There is another rage gen right there. That is a very, very good rage gen, forcing plenty of harvesters, plenty of corruptors, plenty of units to deal damage to each other. Nothing really went down, but the units did spend a lot of spend at least a small amount of resources to deal damage to each other. Eradicator Hexapod trying to get what kills it can in order to get itself some resources. Speaking of that, it did get all of those shock troopers. That's a little bit of cash in the bank for them. That's going to be helpful, but Rildcom and Shrapnel are really just super dug in here. It does look like Shrapnel is not out of this game. He is being an absolute pest with his air units, trying to take a note from his opponent, trying to take a note from 190 KM, getting some scouting off, poking what they can. They are going to get forced out, but that also means that they were forced to spawn resources inside their base instead of spawning more resources on these Devastator warships. Every time these Devastator warships get taken down, they just keep getting replaced over and over. Hammerhead still sharking around looking for what they can get. They did actually get the refinery of 190 KM. That's gonna be good. That puts 190 KM down to just one. I believe it's just one. Yeah, just one of those Tiberium spikes. 190 KM continuing his assault on Rildcom over here as of right now, and it looks like we have Spectres targeting the drone ship of their opponent, almost absolutely taking it out as the Hammerheads begin to target the drone ship of their opponent of Shrapnel. Not quite able to take it out, but they are still alive. That drone ship is still here as well. It is basically one shot from dead, and the engineer goes in to repair it. One click calls out by the Reaper 17 player. The forces of Whitey are beginning to move through the north. Hopefully Rildcom will be able to respond in time. If they can move up and catch all of those tripods, that'll be extremely massive for them, but they will be away from a lot of their defensive. Rildcom really could use Shrapnel's bolstering of some of the forces since he is still in the game, and he can still do that. Spectres are still targeting the drone ship over on the natural expansion, and there we go. Gunwalkers have started targeting the Devastators. That is going to be super massive for them. Eradicator Hexapod is going to move in with its corruptors, and a lot of these tripods are getting taken down left and right. Tripods are in a really bad spot. The Eradicator Hexapod needs those for its support. Oh, and the Venoms are starting to take out the Devastator warships. Whitey is just starting to fall apart really bad here. This is extremely unfortunate. He put himself in a bad position, and he's sort of stuck here in the north. He's lost all of his Devastator warships, the majority of his tripods. His tripods are going to get taken out by these Venoms. Rildcom once again finding amazing purchase in his Venoms. He did not have air superiority. And there comes the GG from Whitey. Whitey has backed out, giving all of his resources to 190 KM. 190 KM also deciding to call in the GG. That was absolutely massive. Rildcom and Shrapnel turned that around. They lost the center of the map, but somehow they managed to save units and utilize what resources they had, while their opponents sort of wasted units on crashing into the enemy defensive line. Shrapnel was definitely a defensive player this time around, but he still did his part, giving Rildcom time to prepare for his assault. Commander, that round was hotter than Tiberium exposure. Take 5 and get ready for match 2. There you are, Commander. Tiberium exposure looks good on you. Our map has moved to Tournament Oasis. This skirmish is sponsored by Viking Vitamins, pillaging your health goals. Taking his place with unwavering confidence on the bottom left-hand side of the map, wearing the blue robes in the black hand gloves, the unstoppable challenger, NumbFi. Ready to outmaneuver his opponent on the top right-hand side of the map, wearing the cyan robe, sporting the marked of Kane gloves, the tactical savant, MasterLeaf. Both fighters ready. Begin. Here on Tournament Oasis, there are plenty of opportunities to sneak into your opponent's natural expansion. The limited amount of resources on the map will force players to move just a little bit faster on one another, as well as making the gains on the blue Tiberium field all the more important. That center control is going to be what could make or break this map almost every single time. And we see all kinds of tactics, like I said before, from taking the natural expansions right about here or here. We've seen that in previous tournaments, like in the April Strike. We saw that a good number of times where people went for these natural expansions and won or lost based off of that. I'm curious to see what MasterLeaf's strategy is, what he's going to employ over here. I believe this is just a mock battle for them, so they're probably going to try a couple of different things that they maybe normally would not. Does look like NumbFi is the first to start his expansion, moving into his natural expansion over there, with MasterLeaf just lagging just a little bit behind for whatever reason. NumbFi has started a small engagement. Oh, I take it back. It's just scouts. NumbFi had some scouts right there, and it looks like 2 bikes are moving in for NumbFi, but there are 3 bikes here for MasterLeaf. 1 bike going for the scout and gonna get taken down for it. MasterLeaf was probably building up to 4 or 5 bikes, but he's going to be down 1 as of right now. I think these bikes are gonna try to chase down the other bikes and get some kills on them. That won't be super bad for MasterLeaf to take. 1 does get taken out by either the Awakened squads or the bikes that were right behind it. I was unable to catch who was able to snipe it down, but that is going to be good for him. It is like we have a buggy. Yep, we do have a buggy right now to deal with the bikes. MasterLeaf sending 1 more bike out to scout, splitting these guys up, just poking around a little bit, looking to get those initial volleys. Those are extremely important to see what is out. Maybe he was poking to see if NumbFi had gotten a Scorpion tank out against the bikes, but that is not the case. So he's just going to continue to shark around as of the moment. MasterLeaf still doesn't look like he has started his expansion. I take it back. There is a crane that he started building, and he's moving into his natural expansion now. I believe he's the only player to grab a crane as of yet. I don't normally see a crane on this map, so I'm curious what MasterLeaf is trying. Blue Tiberium is starting to be taken over by NumbFi as of right now. There are 3 bikes here, but those bikes are only going to be able to do so much. I believe MasterLeaf is just trying to get some pot shots off as his MCV moves in. That is the real important part, is he was using those bikes to distract the MCV moving into the blue Tiberium field. MasterLeaf definitely going for a little bit more of a different strategy, taking that blue Tiberium field early on, making that his expansion as of right now. He might have enough build radius to actually build here and build on the blue Tiberium. I think that's what he is going for. But as of right now, we have a large number of bike and buggy by his opponent, by NumbFi. MasterLeaf's forces looking kind of anemic as of right now. He doesn't really have anything on the map. So if NumbFi were able to see that and move in, he would be able to get some kills. He does have these Tiberium troopers. I wonder how those would fare against a large number of bike and buggy. And there is our first move by MasterLeaf in the center of the map. He is putting rocket squads inside of the garrison structures, as well as putting down a small amount of man spam as of right now. I guess it's less man spam and more man deployments. Keeping 1 Awakened and 2 rocket squads in these garrisons does appear to be his call as of right now. The bikes have moved into the natural expansion, or into the main base of MasterLeaf as of right now. They do have tip core missiles already, but these Tiberium troopers are going to push them out. Buggies are over on the left-hand side of the map, poking around to see what they can see, and we do have a Reckoner over here filling up with rocket squads. We don't have flame troops, but we have rocket squads inside the Reckoner. I'm curious to see what MasterLeaf is going to do with that. Tip core rockets on these bikes are going to sort of unceremoniously take out this harvester. That's going to be unfortunate for MasterLeaf, as what looks to be an assault has started to begin over on his what he's making his natural expansion, this blue Tiberium field. The engagement has begun. There are plenty of bunkers here set up for MasterLeaf taking out these buggies where they can, but this is still a lot of buggies to deal with, and the bikes in the north have not been dealt with. So right now they're going to have kind of free range on whatever harvesters they can find on them. I think MasterLeaf is betting on the gains of this blue Tiberium to take into account the losses he has made so far. MasterLeaf grabbing another Tiberium trooper and moving it into the Reckoner, setting up an even stronger foothold. He's also set down a disruption tower, which is going to help him immensely. We have flame tanks out here for NumbFish. That does seem to be his answer. That would be a good answer to these garrison troops, and I'm not sure MasterLeaf has the forces yet to deal with this. This is a lot of forces by NumbFish. There's a lot of flame tanks here. There's a lot of buggies here. I'm not sure what MasterLeaf is going to be able to get done. He's appearing to be on the back foot as of right now, trying this different strategy. NumbFish still continuing to move in and do a lot of damage with these flame tanks and these buggies, pushing MasterLeaf almost entirely out of the center of the map. One flame tank finally does get taken down by a scorpion tank. Another one is quickly to follow, as well as the rest. These forces are starting to fall apart. They are not supported by buggies or anything as of right now, but the tip core rockets are in the old main base of MasterLeaf, taking down more and more harvesters. NumbFish just seeming to be on his A game as of right now. MasterLeaf tried to move into the center of the map, testing out potentially a new strategy, testing out something that maybe he could try to get away with. MasterLeaf has been known in the past to pioneer weird strategies. I believe he is the one that started the MRT rocket in the air spam, which is still one of my favorites. It looks like these tip core bikes are going to get caught in sort of a bad spot. There's nowhere for them to go. They are absolutely just done for. I don't believe they can escape at all. I say that, and it looks like two of them did manage to make it out, but they did die for almost nothing. MasterLeaf is going to have a little bit of a hill to climb. He was able to grab a lot of that blue Tiberium in the center, but he lost a lot of structures. He lost a lot of units. However, NumbFish did invest a lot of money into those flame tanks and into those bikes and buggies. The buggies have taken losses as well, and the bikes have taken even more losses. So the forces are probably a little bit even. Blackhand's moving into the natural expansion of MasterLeaf, probably just trying to see what they can see, and this has turned a little bit more into a standard game than it was before. MasterLeaf opting to no longer be in the center, although, like I said, he did get all the blue Tiberium he needed, and he was still able to set up his natural expansion over here, if not a little bit delayed. MasterLeaf continuing to use that Reckoner over on the western side of his base, the western side of his natural expansion, probably just trying to find some use for that Reckoner. I believe that's actually the same Reckoner. Transition seems to be Scorpion tanks for MasterLeaf as of right now. Not a bad call, but it looks like NumbFish is right there with him, moving into his own set of Scorpion tanks, as well as a couple of Fanatics to maybe do just a little bit of scouting. The sharking phase has finally begun on this. There was a little bit on the beginning, but not quite as much as right now. These players are going to want to really make sure they position themselves in a good spot in this Scorpion versus Scorpion. They want to make sure that all of their units are firing at the same time and that they're not going to get cut off in some of these unfortunate locations, sort of like the Scorpion tank. But I think the Scorpion tank was just trying to get a little bit of scout. He does go down a half HP. That's not going to do too much as of right now. Another Scorpion tank getting targeted down, but I do believe he's going to make it out in time. I don't think he can afford that engagement. And these Tib Corps troopers are finally going to get taken out. They're going to get absolutely ran over by the Scorpions. MasterLeaf not targeting the Scorpions on the right and sort of ended up in a very, very small pincer. The reverse move has begun, and this is the first true fight of this match. It does look like MasterLeaf is a little outnumbered here and is losing Scorpion tanks left and right. However, he has moved from that into Defender's advantage into Avatars. Avatar's able to get a couple of shots off, but not enough to make up for all the Scorpion tanks that were lost by MasterLeaf over on the center. Scorpion tanks will begin to fall off even if they get the laser turrets on them. So I'm curious to see what NumbFish's transition is going to be. NumbFish got to start targeting the Tiberium spike and get it down relatively for free. Every little bit of resources is going to matter, so that's going to be help him the longer the game goes on. The Scorpion tanks have begun to shark around and look for what kills they can get over on that side of the map. It looks like we actually have a pretty high-ranked Scorpion tank for MasterLeaf. He's doing the same thing that NumbFish is, trying to move into it. Let's see if NumbFish holds up as well as MasterLeaf has been. Two Avatars here to protect the old main base of MasterLeaf, and they are able to do a lot of work and rack up some kills already. No player has really started a major engagement other than the fight over on this side of the map. MasterLeaf getting a little bit of a scout with these Awakened squads and moving these Avatars in on all of these Scorpion tanks, and these two Avatars are sort of going to be out of the way and get taken down rather unceremoniously. I'm not sure they killed enough Scorpion tanks in order to make their losses worth it, but maybe they were hoping to capture something or continue to push back those forces. But that also means that MasterLeaf no longer has a defense at his main base. He has nothing there ready to go, and his forces are looking pretty anemic as of right now. Awakened squads get a good 2 EMPs on these buggies, but it's not going to be able enough to change this fight. Hand of Nod goes down, power plant goes down, MasterLeaf's infrastructure is going down left and right. This is not looking good for him, especially because NumbFish has begun his expansion and set up a lot of his infrastructure over on his secondary natural expansion, while MasterLeaf has not even touched his as of right now. It's not impossible for MasterLeaf to turn this around, but it is going to be a little bit of an uphill climb. MasterLeaf positioning his Avatars and Scorpion tanks as well as Beam tanks, maybe trying to catch these this Scorpion tank army. That will be super good for him if he can. But there is another equal-sized Scorpion tank army by NumbFish moving into the natural expansion of MasterLeaf. MasterLeaf actually being the one to get pretty outmaneuvered this time around. NumbFish just had too much time to build up resources, and he's going to capitalize that on as best he can. MasterLeaf has begun his assault in the south while his base is being taken apart in the north. I think he might be trying for a base race, but I don't think he has the units or the resources to do that as of yet. I believe the MCV may have also been sniped as well. I don't see it anymore, and I believe MasterLeaf was in the process of moving that. Avatars and Scorpions have begun their assault on this natural expansion. EMP gets called down on top of all of those Scorpion tanks, or it was the Awakened squads that were able to get that off. I'm unsure as of right now, but MasterLeaf is still losing more and more infrastructure over on this side of the map. Voice of Kane getting deployed. That's only going to be able to do so much for these guys, but they are going to push out the Scorpion tanks over here in the north. But I believe the damage is done at this point. Hand of Nods have been taken out. MCV, I believe, has been taken out. I don't believe MasterLeaf has an MCV raring to go. Anyway, I say it, there it is. There's the MCV. MCV moving into the back section of his opponent's base, in the back section of NumbFish's base, and he's begun to deploy and probably start building some structures as of right now, some defensive towers. And there they are. There are the Shredder turrets, but I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to do. They do take out at least one Scorpion tank as of right now, maybe another one here in a little bit. They decided to switch their focus to the ground units. More Shredder turrets are getting deployed, and they have finally started focusing on the Scorpion tanks inside there. MasterLeaf supporting this assault with his Avatars over on the right-hand side, and NumbFish just not being able to delodge him from his base. More and more Scorpion tanks are making their way, but I'm not sure it will be in time. These Shredder turrets are doing as they say on the tin and beginning to do a large number of damage. They are made for killing man spam and for killing man units, but they can still do a decent amount of damage to the Scorpions. NumbFish opting to go for more aggression instead of his defense, losing an obelisk, possibly losing his T3 here in a little bit. MasterLeaf is set up in his base, and he is here to stay. These Tiberium troopers are going to do everything in their power to start taking out these bikes, but they're going to get ran over almost as quickly as they begun their assault. These Scorpion tanks so far are just being absolutely unstoppable on this northern side of the map. MasterLeaf sort of opting to almost let his base go down. I know he has forces over here in the south. I know he has base set up over in the south, but he doesn't really have the troops to begin fighting any of this over here, and he hasn't touched his natural expansion at all. He's going to run out of resources here relatively soon. EMP does get called out, getting a number of these Scorpion tanks. Those Awakened squads doing a good job of hitting their EMP grenades when and where they can, and it does look like the Scorpion tanks actually get taken down over here by the small amount of man spam of MasterLeaf. MasterLeaf using few units to kill a lot. Flame tanks moving in to start taking out these Shredder turrets, and I believe that's finally going to do it for this bit over here for MasterLeaf. He's going to lose his MCV just as quickly as he deploys it. He does undeploy his MCV in order to try to save it after deploying an Awakened squad, but I think it's going to be too little too late. There's just too much damage on that MCV to take it out, and I'm not sure MasterLeaf gained... Well, no, he did mostly take out the natural expansion of NumbFish. It might have been worth it. I'm not sure yet. MasterLeaf is definitely doing some weird stuff this time around. More EMPs get hit on these flame tanks, and I believe the avatars are moving forward for the crush, or at least close enough to where they can't get away. Not sure why the avatars are not firing as of right now. Those are a couple of kills they could be getting. It looks like MasterLeaf is just sort of letting these... There they go. Avatars do finally target down those flame tanks. Somehow MasterLeaf is still in this fight, is still in this game. He's used very, very little troops and very unstandard strategies. Definitely testing the waters to see what he can get away with and being an absolute nuisance everywhere he can be. NumbFish opting for a more traditional build from his faction, using the Scorpion tanks, using flame tanks, and it looks like that seems to be his goal, is to just push out a lot of these flame tanks to take down the structure of MasterLeaf. MasterLeaf beginning his assault on the natural expansion with sort of a skeleton crew of a force, but I'm not sure it matters. Most of the forces of NumbFish have been sort of taken out. He does do a small fire cell to save himself some money and get some units out on the field, but they're going to be taken down just as quickly as they are spawned in on the map. Scorpion tanks and flame tanks now moving back into the natural expansion of MasterLeaf as MasterLeaf continues his uncontested assault. I will be very surprised if he wins with this small amount of units. You know, granted, the Tid Core troopers can do a lot, and this Avatar, who is pretty high ranked, can do a lot, but this is very, very few units. More EMPs happening in the north. MasterLeaf using those grenades to his advantage, and Tid Core troopers to his advantage, killing Scorpion tank after Scorpion tank. The flame tanks are going to be the threat, but these two avatars are uncontested, walking into the old main base of NumbFish. It's looking very plausible that MasterLeaf might come out on top of this engagement. Flame tank getting EMP'd and taken out once again, as well as this Scorpion tank, and MasterLeaf just looking absolutely on top of it with so few units. There is another fire sale, and there is the GG by NumbFish. Somehow MasterLeaf was able to turn that around. It was definitely a different opener, and he still managed to get a lot of kills with those two avatars, with that base push, and with those Tib troopers. Thank you for tuning in, Commander. I have been your host, Korak. Transmission out.